My cousin's husband sent me explicit pictures. I don't know if I should tell my family.
Were they hot or not? That's the main factor.
If they were hot, no. If they were not,
if they're not cool, if they're not hot, then yeah.
This is my first ever post, and it's a long story, so please bear with me. I, 26 male, have a story about my cousin, 31 female, and her husband, 35 male, that I'm seeking advice on, and that's what we're here for. For a little bit of backstory. I was never that close with my family growing up. They were all the athlete type, and I was the art student. It would be so quirky and different.
So quirky, unique, artistic.
By the way, this comes from FineCan9262 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, as a child, I would opt to sit in the corner and draw rather than play football in the yard with all the cousins at family events.
Wait, is this male or female?
Male.
Okay. Not like other boys.
So with that, I never really felt that close to majority of my family because growing up, I just felt like we were so different. I was the typical teenager who hated being at family functions and wasn't that social and dealing with mental health issues that I never talked about, which usually put a strain on my relationships with my parents and family. Anyways, on to the story. My cousin, let's call her C. I can only think
Carrie.
Okay. Carrie has been with her now husband. We will call him Derek for, I believe, 13 years at this point. An auspicious number. They got married in October of 2021. Prior to their wedding, I met Derek on a handful of occasions. But given that I grew up in another state from the rest of the extended family, we didn't see them that often, maybe a few times a year. Derek always seemed nice, but was very quiet. Kind of like a background character in comparison to my loud New York family, so I never really got to know him. For the engagement, Derek hosted a surprise birthday back in 2017. Fast forward a few years to COVID lockdown. At this point, I moved out of my parents to Florida, so seeing my family decreased even more in regularity. During the lockdown, I decided to drive back home to Pennsylvania for the 2 weeks. Oh, quote unquote. Lo and behold, it turned into nearly 3 months. 3 months? It was like a year for me. During this time, my family would have Zoom nights to drink over video chat and talk. They were quite fun, honestly. During one of these Zoom chats, I decided to form a group chat for the cousins on Snapchat. I added everyone to the chat, and then Carrie added Derek herself. He's not a freaking cousin. Why are we adding Derek onto the cousin chat?
If you're not a cousin, why are you in the cousin chat?
That's honestly, I'd be kind of peeved.
I'm peeved right now.
I'd be a little bit peeved.
I am peeved.
I'm Derek. I'm family.
If someone, because I have a cousin
Derek
chat.
again.
I have a cousin chat. If someone if one of them added their partners to the cousin chat,
You don't
that's
consider
weird.
them cousins? They don't become cousins?
well, I mean, not married. Their partner. So I don't know.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Aren't
but
you
also,
married?
yeah. I added everyone to the chat, and then Carrie added Derek herself. I don't mind this at all. The cousins love Derek, so it only makes sense for him to be in the chat with us.
I'm
Fine.
Derek. Come on. I'm the cool
Derek.
guy.
Derek! Derek then adds me as a friend on Snapchat. Since we didn't previously have each other's contact, but again, he's quiet, so he doesn't really say much in the chat either.
I don't mess with you, you know?
Spicy pigs speak louder than words. Here's where the timeline gets a little fuzzy in specific times. However, a few months later, Derek privately messages me on Snapchat.
Decent pics of his D.
I'm a very forgetful person, so I always change my chat settings to save the text in the chat. Derek doesn't like that and has me change it back, which I thought was weird, sort of a red flag, but whatever.
Yeah, what?
So on Snapchat, you can, yeah. And so Derek is like, change it back. I don't want you to be able to save them. Go back to the...
Yeah, if Derek said that to me, I'm like, you're not even in the family.
I'd be like,
Look at
oh,
the-
sorry, no, it's like, I'm not going to share it with anyone. It's just, I don't remember.
I'd still be very
I'd be so
weirded out. Like,
I'd
why
be
are you adding me
weirded
on
out.
Snapchat, brother?
No.
And with one thing that I added you, and then it's another like make a request on like your settings.
Yes, that. That's a huge red flag. However, I soon understood why. He starts to open up to me, the gay cousin, about how he's bisexual. He does so in a more, I guess, aggressive way with the comments, which at first I just took as it's awkward for me to talk about this, so I'm going to make crude comments as a way for it to be funny kind of way. OP, the signs are staring at you in the face.
What are the comments? I'm like on the edge of my seat. I'm like,
he starts asking me questions about the biggest wieners I've seen and recommendations on porn to watch.
You think OP was just like kind of into it?
I don't know.
what kind of questions are these?
Conversations like these would be random and on and off every few weeks/months.
These are like the type of questions you get when you're like hammered
Yeah.
and you're like been out all night, you've been bonding with someone, and then someone lets it slip and you're like, we're drunk.
Come
Let's talk
on, it's
about
just
wild
cousin Derek.
stuff.
Come on, I want to know.
Eventually, he would make comments about his upcoming wedding and how he would get me my own room to F all his hot cop friends in after. At first, I thought it was just supposed to be a joke until he said, but only if I can watch.
So the rest of the stuff was like, that's weird, but people are weird. I don't know. And then that point is like the line comes down and you're like, this is inappropriate.
I have in the past asked Derek why he won't be honest with Carrie about his sexuality, but this comment made me go in harder on the recommendation to talk to Carrie about this stuff.
Do you think
Yes.
Derek is gonna blame the cousin for ruining this?
I think that,
Carrie might?
I don't know if Carrie will,
No,
but I
like,
think that,
like Derek's like, oh, now I'm feeling some sort of way now that I'm like bisexual, and I blame it on your cousin.
yes. I think that happens in a lot of the stories that we read where, it's someone is trying, like, figuring themselves out, and maybe there's cheating going on, and then they put it all on the blame on the person that they were pursuing.
Like like you were my gateway,
Yeah. I hope not.
drug, but gateway like.
But also, it doesn't seem like
person
he
to
has
the
that many morals.
sexuality.
So
We'll see. I don't know.
Derek's reasoning as to why he can't tell her is that she would be pissed and blah, blah, blah. Why would
Dude,
okay, if you think that she would, okay, if you are a queer person, why would you want to be in a relationship with someone who you don't think would accept you?
Boom. Say it for the people in the back.
I would always tell him I don't think she would and that he should be honest with her. He would continue to tell me no and how she'll think he's cheating on her. So the thing is that she wouldn't think that,
Until you.
but the thing is that you are kind of cheating on her.
Boom. You would only think that
If you
based
were
off of
cheating
your
on her.
actions right now.
He would then go on to make jokes about her spicy sleep life, saying things like, well, she cheated on me
Oh.
twice, and how she got effed on the kitchen
Oh.
table by like 3 different
Whoa.
guys during their brief breakup in college. And meanwhile, I'm just sitting here wondering why he's telling me this about my cousin's
Yeah,
spicy sleep
right?
life.
It's one thing to be like, yeah, I'm going to be real, like, she's cheated on me, but it's another to, like, give the intimate
Yeah,
details
it's
about
like, here's
someone's
a
cousin.
play-by-play.
Yeah.
I don't need to know that.
Dude, that's my cousin.
Again, if I were OP, I would have blocked this man months earlier.
I'm just confused why Derek has no one else he could talk to besides
See, oh man.
OP or besides his partner's cousin.
I don't know. I know I shouldn't have continued to engage in conversations with him, but I guess I just felt like I had to. Dude, you don't have to. You don't have
You
to.
don't have to do anything.
That like maybe I'm the only one he feels safe to talk about these things since I know what it's like to be gay. I know what it's like to feel like you can't talk to someone. I mean, he comes from a pretty right-wing Republican family, married a girl from another right-wing Republican family. He's part of the NYPD, stereotyping I know, but generally a macho man job. And as far as I know, has no other gay friends, so maybe I'm the only person he can talk to about everything. And even if that's true, he is making you uncomfortable and he is saying really weird crap. And you don't owe him anything.
That OP is sympathizing
Yeah.
and has, suffered internalized feelings of shame, and they've gone down that road and continue to. And it's like, it's sweet that you're like being open to receiving it, but at the same time, like, you still put down a boundary. And say,
Absolutely.
While I sympathize with
Yeah.
you, this is inappropriate. I don't want these messages.
And also, you could totally still help him, or I think if you had put down boundaries earlier and said like, hey, you can't send these types of messages,
But I'm
but
open to talking to you about your
yeah,
sexuality. Yeah.
exactly. Totally different. Would have happened, would have had a way different outcome. Eventually, his comments became more blunt and spicy sleep
Oh, no.
nature. He would ask me if he could show me his D so I can tell him if he's big or not, and that it's probably bigger than most.
If he's a
Dude,
grown man,
This is weird, dude. You're
this
weird
is like
now.
a middle school thing of like,
I would. No, it gets worse. I would always simply reply with, you do what you want. OP, you're now the a-hole. OP, you're now also the a-hole.
You're allowing.
You're enabling it.
You're
This is
enabling
so
this.
enabling.
You're not putting up boundaries. You no longer get to say, oh, well,
It's
I was
almost
trying, I was uncomfortable and I was trying
like
to
I
help
said,
him.
I kind of feel like OP is like, he's like, no, but like,
Stop.
send it
You could do whatever you
anyway.
want, but I'm not gonna like it.
Oh,
Like,
no,
I think OP's like, this is wrong, but this is kind of.
Well, I think if this were my cousin's partner, I'd be like, from the get-go, I'd be like, this is totally inappropriate.
That's
And
what
then
I'm
I go text my
saying.
cousin.
That's what
I
I'm
have
saying.
no loyalties to Derek.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why OP would have blocked Derek or
Yeah,
removed Derek
if he were a
immediately
good
right off.
cousin.
Right off the bat. That's what I'm saying. I think OP's kind of into it.
Maybe. I mean, there was so many moments
Yeah.
for them to put down a line,
Mhm.
and then for this almost feels like an invitation. Like you could do
If
whatever
you,
you
yeah,
want.
you can do whatever you do what you want.
It's bordering on invitation.
Sounds honestly could be, maybe this is not what OP intended, but could be, you know, flirty. Could be
Because-
seen as
be-
flirty,
yeah,
especially by
exactly.
this guy who's been for months broaching this topic to see what he's, you know,
Like,
what
How far
line
can I
is there?
go?
Is there
How
a
far
line?
can I go? How far can I go?
Yeah,
It's
that's
just,
what
it's-
exactly.
And it's just like OP.
And
You know
OP's
it's
like, yeah,
wrong, and you're
I-
like, oh, that's gross. But
But so
keep
taboo.
telling me about it, or like, let me, you know.
As I realized it's no longer my fault what he does, and I can't control him from doing / saying anything. Dude,
Okay.
that's not true.
You could tell someone you don't want to receive.
You literally
bare
can say,
minimum.
no, I'm not comfortable with this. Block him on Snapchat. Tell Carrie. There are so many
There's so many
options.
options. There's so many.
so
There's not just
many
like one
options.
door where it's like, oh, or like it's not even in person. It's literally through Snapchat
Yeah.
or like social media. You can block them.
Yeah.
You don't even have to open it.
Yeah. It's not like he's sending you like Polaroids and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know what this was when I
know what
opened
you
my
did
mail.
last summer. It's like no.
Yeah.
You have so many options to stop this, and you haven't
You're
stopped
choosing
it.
The one option. that is
the
least
worst
ideal.
option.
You're like, let me just open it. You're like, okay.
He's digging his own grave after all.
And you're
And
handing him the shovel.
You're giving him a shovel. Part of me also thought about how the more I let him say / do, the more information I could report to my cousin.
Yeah, but you're an accomplice at this point now.
Dude, this is very much giving like, yeah, and I was like, well, you should send more because I wanted to get more information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want a
Just
different
for
angle.
that
I wanted all
reason.
the angles.
You
so
could.
like,
You should kiss me so I could get
So I can tell
information on
my
you.
cousin on you.
I'm gathering evidence.
I never followed through with saying anything as I realized I have no proof since all communication is done via Snapchat. I forgot. Opie was like, oh, well, I'm trying to collect more information, but
But I
text
can't.
delete on Snapchat.
Yeah.
He literally let them delete. Oh my God.
All right, say the next line. Say the next line.
Okay.
It's fun.
He eventually sent me a picture of his D, and all I could say was that I've seen bigger.
dude.
Fine. He would tell me about how he would have fantasies about having spicy sleep with Carrie and her sister. Even mention how he fantasized about their mom.
Now it's just going. This guy's just a freak.
It's weird.
He's going
just
off
This guy's no
track.
longer bi. This guy's just freaky.
Soon, I thought it was over as their wedding date grew near, and he hasn't messaged me these inappropriate things in a while. Fast forward to their wedding. The day was a crap show, and the wedding was the biggest political statement of a wedding I have ever seen.
What does that mean? But it's so wow.
I mean, they had the United States national anthem playing on the violin in the church right after Carrie walked down the aisle. He's like, I'm a man. We're gonna do manly things at my wedding.
Damn it.
We're gonna play Creed.
At the reception, in lieu of favors, a donation was made in our names to some first responders foundation and came with a little American flag lapel pin for everyone, which when all the older crowd put them on, the wedding looked more like an RNC event rather than a wedding.
That's so funny.
This is really funny. Even her something blue was a Blue Lives Matter patch with their last news sewn in the under part of her dress. Okay. Dinner had to start late because Derek was so wasted and couldn't come out in multiple ways.
But yeah.
They were trying to sober him up while we started dinner. Carrie sat at the bridal table alone at first. She was so pissed. They had a Frank Sinatra perform during dinner who invited all first responders up to the dance floor for a special song.
So American.
Dude, just imagine like we gotta hire Frank Sinatra,
We
this
gotta hire
imitator. Yeah.
Derek could barely stand up and he threw up during the performance,
Oh.
nearly all over Carrie and her
This is a
dress.
crap show.
A few months go by, and I'm at work when Derek messaged me asking if it's cheating to work off with his friends.
Work out. Work out.
I was completely taken aback by this random message and just continually responded to his questions with that it depends on what he and Carrie have set to be considered cheating in the relationship.
That's true.
Why are you still responding? He said he didn't think it's a big deal, and I told him it might not be to him, but could be to her, and that's why they need to have open conversations about their boundaries and set expectations for the relationship.
OP is so like patient. With
Yeah, why? Literally, OP, you're an accomplice.
Depends on the agreements of your relationship, and maybe that's something that you should communicate maturely with your
Yeah.
partner. And also, like, Yeah, you could send me your pic.
I love that this went from OP being like, yeah, I didn't really ever talk to Derek. He was kind of quiet, to this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't going through to him no matter how many times I told him he should go talk to his wife about this. A few more months go by, and I'm on Snapchat playing with random filters out of boredom during a hurricane when I suddenly come across one that makes me do a double take. It was one of those filters that puts a photo on your cheeks, and I couldn't tell at first what it was, but at first glance, it looked like gay corn. Until I realized it was just a gif of some guy. I thought it was funny and sent a photo with the filter saying, at first I thought this was gay corn, into the cousin group chat. Derek almost immediately messaged me privately and said, might only be us who like the filter.
Well, it's like, yeah, solidarity. Like, we're...
Stop. Not you too.
Derek got me, guys. What can I say?
I sort of just was over him messaging me, so I decided to make an excuse saying the storm is messing with my Wi-Fi, so I need to change the chat settings to not delete in case. He agreed, but immediately comments, or so you can tell everyone. I then continue the conversation with him while using my roommate's phone to film my screen. This way he doesn't get a notification of screenshot/screen recording. This conversation sadly was a more tame one, but was very similar to the other recent one from when I was at work. I tell him he should be honest with her. He says he can't. I explain how most relationships end in cheating due to one person not being honest about what they want/their desires. He makes snide comments about how she cheated on him behind his back twice, and so on. If you're not over it, then why are you still with her? Again, I got nowhere with him, and eventually he went to bed, making sure he changed the chat delete back to normal before doing so. All very suspicious to me, but in the end, it's not my circus, not my monkeys, and I don't feel like I have any sufficient evidence to bring forward to my cousin anyway.
She goes, yeah, it's a little suspicious.
It's
like
literally,
this whole thing hasn't been wildly inappropriate.
Dude, it's literally
It's
your
explicit.
circus and your monkeys. You're related to the circus and monkeys. I bring all of this information up to my older brother one day, saying that I have information that may destroy Carrie's marriage, expecting to gain some advice on what to do.
Also, you could have done this before
she was married.
She was married to someone who was being wildly inappropriate.
I really don't like OP. However, my brother just has a, why would you do that? It's not a big deal attitude, and tells me how Derek has sent him nudes of other women in the past and such. So your whole family kind of sucks. Okay.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like sent him nudes.
No, of other women in the past.
Okay. But what? Like women they know, or like women
I don't know.
on the internet?
I sort of just forgot about this whole thing after a while, and I haven't got any message like that since, as I believe I made him nervous after the last interaction. But recent events brought this all flooding back to me as Carrie just announced to our cousin group chat that they're pregnant.
Ugh.
Immediately, I got hit with a sense of guilt. Good.
Yeah.
And think I should have said something to her earlier, but now I feel that it's too late to do so. Absolutely should have done it way earlier, but it's never too late to tell her.
Yeah, you should tell her, but it's too late.
It's too late for
in terms
you.
of the damage you've done.
Yeah, you've already done a lot of damage, but it's not too late for her to get out of it. The baby is now born, I believe 3 or 4 months old. I feel so guilty for not saying anything before and now don't know what to do. Not only may this destroy my cousin's marriage, but could also now result in a child's parents getting divorced. By the way, it would never destroy us if you joined us live on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile every weekday. And there is a little bit more to this story. But
I feel like
I'm frustrated.
exhausted.
I'm so angry because the whole time OP's got this kind of like yes, just very like that attitude of being like, oh well, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything wrong, and you are doing something wrong by letting this man who was dating your cousin, now married to her, letting him like send you all of these inappropriate things,
messages, photos,
obviously wanting to cheat or maybe is cheating with other people, and you do nothing because you're like, oh well, it's not my business. It's
being
your cousin.
complicit, and it's enabling, and it's
Yeah.
allowing to be involved in someone's cheating.
Yeah, and also I think like, you know, sometimes people aren't that close to their cousins. It seems like they're close enough to have like a cousin group chat, which not everyone has. Yeah, this is just, I really, really don't like OP. I thought maybe I should talk to my parents about it, but that's awkward as hell. I feel like I can't straight up tell Carrie as I don't have a lot of physical evidence. Dude.
This isn't like
This
a
isn't,
crime
like,
scene.
yeah.
Like, you could just
Tell
Hopefully
her.
your cousin's gonna trust you
Just
when
be
you're like,
hey.
they're messaging me this stuff.
Yeah, I've been receiving this for a while. Since I was never close to my family and disagree with them on a lot of topics, I fear they won't believe me and make me out to be the villain. You are.
You could have.
You're not the main villain, but you're sure as hell the sidekick villain.
You could have recorded.
You're the
They-
henchman.
They recorded it on with someone else's phone.
Yeah.
Like a long time.
You could have done this way
Yeah, you
earlier.
could have done it like a year ago.
Which is just a load of mental turmoil I don't want to deal with, but this information is also mentally draining. In the end, if they don't believe me, I don't care about having a close relationship with my family. However, my family is all really close, so it will be very uncomfortable at events, and I know my parents will be upset to have the family fall apart like that. So my question is, how do I handle this? Do I or do I not tell Carrie about this? Am I the a-hole for not telling my cousin about all of these conversations her husband had with me in the past? Or am I the a-hole as a gay man if I out someone to the world, my family, his family, their friends, etc.? One, you are the a-hole for not telling your cousin about all these conversations. And I totally understand not wanting to out someone, but you don't have to tell your whole family. I don't think you should. I think you should just go straight to Carrie and say, hey, I've been receiving a lot of inappropriate messages and I don't feel comfortable and I think you need to know. Regardless of someone's sexuality, you have a right to, I mean, it doesn't seem like you were that uncomfortable, honestly. But she, you know.
There was even stuff not related to sexuality that was still inappropriate.
Him sending, which you could bring up. If you're like, oh, if that's the thing that's, you know, stopping you about outing him, then you can bring up the fact that he sent your brother women's spicy pics.
Yeah, there's, like Sophia was saying, this has been going on for so long, and it is impossible not to look bad in this situation because OP, you look quite
You
bad.
look pretty bad. But that is the end of that story.